Let's stop speaking English like a robot and learn how to sound like an advanced speaker of English instead. This lesson is ideal for you if you need to speak English for work where you need to be clearly understood, or for passing an English speaking exam like the IELTS or one of the Cambridge English tests. Pronunciation counts for 25% of your grade in the IELTS test, so if you're not getting the band that you require, this lesson could make all the difference. So in today's lesson, let's look at how to talk about your hometown. We're going to practice word stress, sentence stress, the use of the schwa, and connected speech. So this is going to be a bit of a pronunciation masterclass. So we're going to answer 3 questions. First, where is your hometown? My hometown is London, a multicultural city, which is the capital of England. Second, is there much to do in your hometown? Oh yes, there's plenty to do as it's a huge city. If you like going out in the evening, there are a lot of good restaurants and bars. If you prefer cultural activities, there are museums and art galleries. But if you like nature, there are lots of other things outside the city which are easy to reach. And third, what do the people like in your hometown? They are mostly quite friendly, but as with most big cities, everyone is often busy. So it may seem as if they're not interested in speaking or having a chat. But if you live there, you know that most people are quite happy to have a chat if they have time and will help you if needed. Now for the fun stuff. Now for the secret sauce. How to not speak like a robot. So the first thing we need to remember is English is a stressed-based language. What that means is certain syllables, sounds within a word will have more stress than other syllables or sounds within that word. Also, we have stress in the sentence. So certain words will have more stress, meaning we say them slightly more louder or slightly more higher pitch, so that they stand out more. And there's good reasons why we do this. It makes it easier to understand us because our main points can really stand out. And it also makes it more economical to speak because we can say more with a lot less effort. So which words in this sentence are really important? Well, let's have a look. So what type of words do we normally stress? Well, content words, words that have meaning. For instance, main verbs, adverbs, adjectives, nouns, and WH question words like what, where, who, for instance. These are words that we normally stress in English. So we say them a little bit more, a little bit louder, with a bit more stress. And then everything else that kind of joins everything together, that's really there for like the glue or for the grammar, we call function words. And there's many types of function words. They're usually much smaller words, not always, such as prepositions to, for, in, at, on, articles like a, an, the, and auxiliary verbs like have, well, and verb to be. These normally are not stressed. So we're going to stress the content words and not the function words. So let's have a look at this sentence and let's decide which here are the content words. So let's look for some nouns first. That's the obvious one. So we have hometown. Now technically I guess home is probably an adjective here, but that's something we're going to stress. So we certainly stress hometown. Let's underline that for the words that we're going to stress. London, of course, is a noun. So we're certainly going to stress that. And then we have multicultural city. So multicultural is an adjective. So we stress. And city, of course, is a noun. So we're going to stress that as well. Okay. So we've got a few words there we're going to stress already. What else? Well, which, yeah, we can stress that. It's an adverb. Normally we don't stress the. Sometimes we do though, it depends, but here we're not going to. So capital, yeah, definitely going to stress this. And of course, England, of course, we have to stress England, very important word. It's also a noun. So let's stress that. Now within those words, some of those words have one syllable, one sound, or more than one. So if they have more than one syllable, we also need to work out which is the stressed syllable or the tonic syllable within that word. So most of these, okay, London has 2 syllables, London. and the stress here, and as it is with almost all two-syllable words, the stress is normally at the beginning of the word. London, London. So let's make sure we a bit of extra stress on the lun. And then what happens usually in the weak syllable is we usually have the schwa sound, the most common sound in English, which is very easy to make. It's a neutral vowel, so the mouth is completely relaxed. The tongue is just in the center of the mouth, jaw open a little bit, lips relaxed. So if you can hardly hear it, because it's a very quiet sound. So we use that in the reduced syllables. So we're going to change this O into a schwa. So I'm going to show you the schwa just with red. That can represent the schwa today. So there we go. So multicultural, so col is a stress here. And we've got a schwa at the end, the last syllable, that's the weak syllable. Then we have city, city. So there's actually two syllables here. So the first syllable is the stressed syllable. Okay, which is just one syllable, so it doesn't matter. Capital, so that's three syllables. Again, capital, capital, I have to think about that, yeah. Stress the first syllable. And I believe that should be a schwa here in the weak syllable. Of England, England. You notice we changed the pronunciation of the second part. It's not land because we're going to use the schwa here. So we stress the first syllable, ing, and then we put the schwa in the weak syllable. Okay. Okay, so first we've got our stress pattern here now, which is probably the most important part. So I'm going to say this, I'll try and say it a little bit slowly so you can see how I stress these certain words. So my hometown is London, a multicultural city, which is the capital of England. So what do we do with some of these function words? Well, some of them will just be as they are, like for instance, is. We're not really going to change this, doesn't really have a weak form. That could be contracted, of course. But sometimes we will change the sound. So for instance, this article here, we don't say a multicultural city. It is, sometimes we can say that, of course, but normally the article is, it's not stressed, so we just use the schwa sound. So instead of saying a multicultural city, it's a multicultural city. And notice I don't go multicultural, it kind of joins together. A multicultural city, a multicultural city. So change that whole word into the schwa. There should be another one here as well. Okay, we've got to have another schwa here because we're going to use the weak form of the article. So this is the, not the, which is the strong form. So the end will be the schwa there as well. Now, this is interesting. This word is usually pronounced in a weak form. And actually the word on its own, just in case you don't know this, it's not an F. If it was O-double-F, it would be an F. But actually in this word, it's actually a V, the sound. So of. But we're going to change it further. And we're actually going to change the O into a schwa sound. And that becomes of England, of England. And again, you can see I'm going quite quickly and join it straight to the next word, not of England with a gap, of England, capital of England, the capital of England. So is there anything else we need to do in here? I think we've got all of our schwas in there and all of our stress. So let's go through this together. I'll say it once and then you say after me. So, my hometown is London, a multicultural city, which is the capital of England. Well done. Let's move on to the second question. Okay, so as if by magic, we now have all of the words that we're going to stress underlined and all of the stress syllables in bold. And hopefully we've got all of the schwa sounds, or most of them anyway, the most important ones, all highlighted in red. So let's go through these sentences one by one. So first we have here, oh yes, there's, no, it's a z sound, there's plenty to do. So notice I say ta here, so I'm using the schwa, not to do. And we're going to link it to that do, to do. Plenty to do, plenty to do. As it's, you know, so we can connect these two words together actually, and they're reduced as well. As it's, we're going to use the schwa here. Huge city. And I'm going to lengthen the huge a little bit more and kind of stress that word just a bit more, because I want to emphasize the size of the city. It's just so big, it's huge. So let's put it all together. I'm going to say the sentence and then repeat after me. Oh yes, there's plenty to do as it's a huge city. Very good. Okay, so the next sentence we have, if you like going out, so we have a phrasal verb there, going out, we're going to stress that. In the, so it's nice and reduced, in the, kind of join it together. Evening, there are, in fact, I'm going to put the R as a schwa. The R as a schwa. There are a. I'll show you how to deal with that in a second. There are a lot of, not of. So we're going to change that for the schwa. Remember the F is a V sound. The, of. A lot of good restaurants and, I'm going to reduce that, and bars. So all together, whole sentence, and repeat after me. If you like going out in the evening, there are a lot of good restaurants and bars. So the next sentence. If you prefer, and notice stress is on the fur this time because it's a verb. If you prefer cultural activities, there are museums and art galleries. So say the sentence together, follow after me. If you prefer cultural activities, there are museums and art galleries. Very good. So the next sentence, very slowly. So I'm going to stress the but because it's showing contrast here. So, but if you like nature, there are lots of other things outside of the city which are easy to reach. To reach. So let's say, I'm going to say the complete sentence and you follow after me. But if you like nature, there are lots of other things outside of the city which are easy to reach. Very good. Okay. There's one other thing we haven't done here, and that's using some of the ways to connect our speech. And we've done it with some of the function words, connecting them together. But I'm going to show you another technique now for connected speech. And there's many ways to connect speech, but we're just going to look at today ways of connecting it when a word ends in a vowel and the next word begins in a vowel sound. We don't like to say two vowel sounds together, and we don't like that gap or that hiatus. So we can add an extra sound. We can insert a sound. In fact, we're going to insert a consonant sound. Today, I'm not going to go through the exact details of why we connect these certain words together, what sounds to use, mainly because I've made a very detailed video about that recently, and hopefully there should be a link just above here, or I'll provide a link at the end of this lesson. So very quickly, I'm going to quickly link some of these words together and show you how to do that. Okay, so I've inserted some sounds here, which you can see here. So here we have what's called the y sound. Might sound a little bit strange. It's usually spelt with a Y. This is actually just an IPA symbol. It looks like a J, but don't worry about that. It's a y sound, just like in you or yes. So what we do here, instead of saying the evening, two very similar sounds, we're going to have that y in between, so it becomes the evening, the evening, the evening, the evening. And here we're inserting the R sound, the sound. So at the end of here, there are, there are, there are, there are. And then we have ara, ara. So there are a, there are a. It's quite an interesting sound. There are a lot of good restaurants and bars. And further on, we have another R insertion here of the same thing. So there are, there are, there are. There are museums and art galleries. Another one here. There are lots of other things outside. And also we have here, so are and easy, are easy, are easy, are easy. Okay, so let's go through it sentence by sentence, and let's try and get this connected speech as natural as we can. So I'll say one sentence and you repeat after me. Oh yes, there's plenty to do as it's a huge city. Good. If you like going out in the evening, there are a lot of good restaurants and bars. Very good. If you prefer cultural activities, there are museums and art galleries. Excellent. But if you like nature, there are lots of other things outside of the city which are easy to reach. Perfect. That was really good. Excellent. So let's look at the third question. Okay, so with the final response, we've already put in the stress patterns. We've also put in the schwas, or most of them, and how we're going to link some of these words together. So let's look at the linking first, or the connected speech. So as you can see here, they, it's that y sound again. They are, they are, they are, they are, they are. They are mostly quite friendly. They are mostly quite friendly. The other connected speech we have here is, so now we have the w sound, we've got around the lips, w, and that's because so actually ends in an o sound, which we round the lips, a rounded vowel. So, w. So it makes it easier to go so it, so it, so it, so it may seem, so it may seem. And then we have that, the R insertion again, the sound. They are, they are. They are not interested. And we have the R sound here again. People are, people are, people are. So that sound. And finally the w sound at the end. You if. Help you if needed. Help you if needed. Help you if needed. So let's go through each sentence one by one. They are mostly quite friendly. But as with most big cities, everyone is often busy. So it may seem as if they are not interested in speaking or having a chat. Very good. But if you live there, you know that most people are quite happy to have a chat if they have time and will help you if needed. Very good. That's absolutely fantastic. You're certainly not sounding like a robot now. You're really sounding like a very advanced level speaker of English. Now, if you want to further improve your pronunciation, particularly if you're taking one of these tests and you need to answer these questions, Part 2 of this video, hopefully you'll find here. If it's not here now, it'll be here quite soon. Where we go through some of the answers to the other types of questions you might have in IELTS or Cambridge English. But of course, even if you're not taking a test, this will certainly help you in your English pronunciation. And I've also left another video over here, which I posted very recently, which goes into a lot of detail about connected speech.